Hey podcasters, Ryan Otto here. Before today's episode, I just want to let you all know that I've gone all in short letting on booking.com. Back in 2005, the returns were good, but nothing like what we're achieving 14 years later. Because right now, every £1,000 of market rent I used to receive from a tenant is now returning £3,000 per month on the exact same rental property, which is a rental increase of 199%. My friends, if you leave a podcast review and tag me with it on any social platform, I'll send you a free copy of my rent arbitrage model, which is the unlock for you to do the same. And right now, guys, it's completely free. By the end of this webinar training, you guys will have two choices. The first choice you'll be faced with is to do nothing or do exactly what you did yesterday, okay? Or the second choice is you get to unlock up to £42,000 per year by ethically stealing this entire profit increasing system in less than 60 minutes time. Because your choices today, guys, will help you to avoid your regrets of tomorrow. Now, the reason you're listening to me right now is because, my friend, you're one of the smart landlords, one of the smart entrepreneurs on booking.com that knows. I mean, really knows that you can earn up to £42,000 profit a year from an average two-bedroom property on booking.com's page 1 with an in high demand status with above average occupancy levels. But that's not possible today for the average landlord to unlock that £42,000 of profit when it's left to just listing their property and using guesswork that won't appear on page 1. It won't put your property on page 1, guesswork, because you won't know how to meet booking.com's algorithm, their logical test to be on page 1. So landlords stand to lose around £29,000 a year because that's locked in their poor performing property listing that's just left to guesswork. Let me explain what I mean by that. Booking.com only drives attention, only drives views, only drives traffic, okay? Only drives guests and bookings and more profit to their preferred listings, which are obviously on page 1, as long as they meet their algorithm's logical test. Now, if you think Booking.com, if you think of them as like a younger sibling of the unstoppable Google search engine, okay? This becomes a lot clearer if you think about Booking.com in that context. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, because you're smart, you will know that if you don't change your mindset today, I mean, right now on this webinar training, if you don't change your strategies on Booking.com, and if you don't go all in today to what I'm about to share with you all, you will unfortunately join the other 53,979 landlords of apartments and holiday homes that are on Booking.com, who will either be left behind financially or lose around £29,000 a year, guys, or have no choice but to leave Booking.com because the small increased profit above your old AST rent is no longer worth the time and hassle for you to miss out on the greatest opportunity landlords have ever seen in the last 2 decades, okay? Now, what I mean by that is the average two-bedroom property on Booking.com right now, I mean today, is now worth and earning our clients and ourselves up to £42,000 a year, guys. Only when it's set up correctly for Booking.com's page 1, okay? Page 1. In this well-known but little understood market, that spent 4.1 billion last year on advertising to fill their page one preferred property listings. Does that make sense? Right now, I mean in 2019 right now, getting on Booking.com's page one, increasing your occupancy to 75% plus all year round, guys, becoming a permanent in high demand listing is where you need to be focusing all of your attention, guys. All of your attention. Being here right now on this webinar, this training webinar, you all have a massive advantage over the other 53,979 landlords who are also on Booking.com. Now, don't waste that advantage. Don't waste that opportunity by doing nothing after I've given you literally everything you need to be on page one of Booking.com to increase your profit up to £42,000 a year and increase your occupancy above 75% up to 84% all year round by the end of this webinar, my friend. So this one perfect property deal on page one Booking.com produces £42,155 a year. That's profit. That's profit, guys. It produces £63,155 a year in revenue. That's one property. That's the last 12 consecutive months. Now, the market rent, if we rented it through a private tenant or a high street agency, is £1,750 a month. That's £21,000 a year. So when you take the 63,155 gross revenue we get right here at the end in the total section, in this middle column, you deduct the market rent, £21,000 a year, that leaves us a profit of £42,155 a year. Now, according to the Guardian newspaper, guys, 28,677 is the average UK salary. This one property on page one of Booking.com is achieving 147% above the average UK salary from one property by doing things differently and getting on page one and squeezing that occupancy up, okay? Now, if you look here, it's not luck, it's not chance, it's not my opinion or ego. These numbers don't lie. We're actually 46. Well, our competitors are 46.3% occupancy. How average competitors in this particular area. That means we're 54% higher occupancy over the last 12 months. If you look here on the right-hand side, you can see 308 nights in the total section. 308 nights into 365 nights a year is 84% occupancy, guys, right? It's not luck. It's not chance. This is not my ego or opinion. These numbers don't lie. And we're achieving £205 a night in our average nightly rate across the last 12 months. Look, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. The last 12 consecutive months, guys. If you look at November, the revenue was £5,222. That's 62.9% above our competitors, guys. And our occupancy was over 100% in that month. Over 100%. If you're wondering how you get over 100%, that's because obviously people book under the non-refundable policy and then they obviously need to cancel. They can't turn up. Obviously, they don't get a refund and we resell that property. Very, very common for us. We resell that property by doing things differently, guys. So that's how you'll see on these stats over 100%. Okay, guys? Let's look at December. 5,626. That was the revenue. 147% more than our competitors. 74% occupancy in December. Let's look at January. Low season. Worst month. All of our properties all year. Worst month every year. £2,554. 84% more than our competitors though. 84% more. And our occupancy was over 51%. That's the worst month of the year across all of our portfolio. Every property. Worst month, January. Let's look at February. 4,323. That's 112% more than our competitors, guys. Occupancy, 71%. March, 4,714. 45.5% more than our competitors. Our occupancy was 96.7%. April, 4,234 guys. 47% more than our competitors. 76.6% occupancy. May, 6,631. 63% more than our competitors. Occupancy over 100% again, guys. June, 5,303 revenue. 42% more than our competitors. 93% occupancy, guys. July, 7,411. 96% more than our competitors. Occupancy over 87%. August, 7,619. 102% more than our competitors. Occupancy over 87%. September, 4,835 revenue. 49% more than our competitors, guys. Can you see this? Does this make sense? Over 87% occupancy. And then October, 4,182. 68% more than our competitors. Occupancy over 77%. Does this make sense, guys? This used to rent for £1,750. Some months we're getting nearly £8,000. Nearly 100% more than our competitors. Okay? But on average, we're about 54% across the whole of the year above our closest competitors. You can see the lines on the screen. You know how Booking.com works. When you use their analytics and their stats, you have your stats, the orange line, and then the closest average market stats is the other grey line below. You can see the stats for yourself, guys. You know how this works. Imagine your occupancy was increased to 84% like ours. Just imagine if your profit was increased up to £63,000 a year. What would that do for you? Hey podcasters, thanks for listening. Please go ahead and share the podcast with your friends. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe so I can instantly deliver my best business tactics and entrepreneurial content to you the second it's released. Does that sound like a good deal?